The ABSA Red Bus, ABSA, a member of Barclays, has made its way from Leeds to Newcastle. And that bridge over there, in just a week's time, it's going to be turning 87 years old. That's Tyne Bridge, and it's really a defining monument and feature on the skyline here in Newcastle. The bridge connects Newcastle upon Tyne to Gateshead, and as you can see, our ABSA Red Bus is parked outside of the Sage Newcastle, which is an entertainment hub here in the area. Very good morning to you and welcome to the show. For the last week, we have been talking about this match. It's Scotland up against South Africa. That takes place this evening. You'll be able to catch that game live on SABC 2 from 5 o'clock. It's one that all of us can't wait for, as well as the people here in Newcastle, because Newcastle, as a city, are only hosting 3 Rugby World Cup matches, and the first of which is today's clash at St James's Park. We're going to be taking you to St James's Park, where Mac and I were yesterday. But first, let's bring you the latest news. Australia coach Michael Cheika has laughed off former England World Cup winning coach Clive Woodward's dismissal of his players, because Woodward said that the Australian players are not the brightest when they're under pressure. So Cheika told the news conference that Mr. Woodward is right. I only got 300 out of 500 in my high school certificate. My mother wasn't happy either with the result, I can assure you, but somehow I got through. Ireland will be without injured backs Rob Kearney and Jared Payne for Sunday's World Cup Pool D clash against Italy, but coach Joe Schmidt named an otherwise full-strength team, including fitting in centre Robbie Henshaw. Ireland can qualify for the quarterfinals with a match to spare with a third successive victory. And then England coach Stuart Lancaster said that the team faced the biggest game of their careers against Australia as they fight to keep their World Cup dream alive. They've won 4 of the past 5 meetings with Australia. However, Australia are on a roll. They've won 2 matches so far in the pool of death. All right, there's a magnificent view of the Tyne Bridge, and as you can see there, the crew is at the bottom of the bus, our ABSA Red Bus, which has not only been taking us around England, but is also our travelling studio. All right, so let's tell you what you can expect later on today. We've got fixtures coming out for you, as well as the results from yesterday. It was a match that you were able to enjoy on SABC 2. Georgia wanted to prove to the world that they have the ability to play rugby, and against the world champions, they certainly did. It was a feisty Georgian team. However, New Zealand ran out 43-10 winners, and New Zealand now qualify for the quarterfinals. They're the very first team to do that. It's a massive weekend, so many pool deciders. One, of course, the one where all the South African and Springbok attention will be, is South Africa up against Scotland here in Newcastle at St James's Park. Samoa up against Japan, that's the other Pool B match. That's the pool that South Africa are competing in. Those 2 games, very important for South Africa. You'll be able to watch them live on SABC 2. 3 o'clock for Samoa up against Japan, and at 5 o'clock South Africa up against Scotland. All right, so these are some beautiful visuals over Newcastle, which later on today will, as South Africans, we hope will be taken over by Springbok supporters. But the truth is, we are just an hour and a half away from the Scottish border. We're right up in the northeast of England. So that means that Scotland will be feeling a little bit of a home ground advantage, because so many of their supporters are actually coming through. Many of them don't have tickets, so they are going to be coming to the fan zone. So let's make sure that the South African support is loud and proud, as it always is. These 2 teams have never met on neutral ground, and this meeting today will be the first time on neutral ground. South Africa have an 80% winning record over the Scots. So let's check in with our camp correspondent Simon Burke to find the latest from the Springbok camp.
It's perfect conditions in Newcastle, and a Springbok squad brimming with confidence ahead of this crucial Pool B clash against Scotland. And it all takes place here at St James Park, which is a cathedral to football and the home of Newcastle United. The Boks have a new skipper, Fourie du Preez, and perhaps a new outlook.
We've got a lot of guys that have played a lot of tests for the Springboks, so I think the guys have really come to the forefront this week. So just to get behind Fourie, and I think Fourie is not a man of many words. So he's going to rely on all the leaders to step up, and everybody to lead as well.
He's one of the guys that's been it came a long way with Heineke. I think, yes, when he started, Heineke was the coach of the Bulls, and so they know each other very well, and he knows how to execute the coach's plan. So I think that, like we said, that's a perfect guy for the job, and we still got a lot of good leaders in the squad that can back him up, and like we said, he doesn't speak a lot, but when he speaks, he really means what he wants to, or what he's saying, and you've got guys like Skalk, you've got guys like Ruan, Bismarck, more senior guys that have also been captains in their respective ways. So I think it's nice to have that balance as well, and it's a pleasure to be playing under Fourie, and can't wait.
So it's a make or break match, a must-win encounter, and every other cliche in sport that you can think of. But one gets the sense that this is a very relaxed and focused Springbok side. I'm Simon Burke, bringing you the latest from the Springbok camp.
Good. Point. Six.
Get behind Rugby World Cup 2015 on SABC.
Welcome back to our Rugby World Cup update as we bring it to you live from Newcastle upon Tyne. Just going to fix our microphone quickly for 2 seconds. There we go. Thank you very much to Martin, our sound man, who's been doing a great job. So now that you guys can all hear me, some of those beautiful visuals are the bridges that run across Gates, well, rather connect Gateshead to Newcastle. And they run over, or rather they bridge over the River Tyne. And this is really a landmark here in this region. And what a beautiful, magnificent holograph there. Rugby World Cup 2015. It all gets underway today when South Africa go up against Scotland at St James's Park. Yesterday we were at the only club that actually plays in the Premiership here in the northeast of England, and that was Newcastle Falcons. They've got a history of over 130 years of actually playing rugby. They've won 1 Premiership title here in England, and they've won 4 domestic cups. There's also a couple of South Africans that have played amongst their ranks, Bobani Bobo as well as Marius Herta. So we got to find out a little bit more about the club when we visited them.
Newcastle Falcons as a club was formed in 1877, so we're almost 140 years old. It was the first fully professional rugby club in the world, so when Sir John Hall paid the players back in 1995, we were the first club to do it. We've won the Premiership once in '98, we've won the National Cup twice, and we're currently in the top flight of either Premiership. It's such a unique opportunity, isn't it? I mean, the World Cup's not going to come back to this country for over 20 years. So when we found out it was here and Newcastle was going to stage 3 games and there's going to be a lot of fans from South Africa and Scotland in the city, we decided to put the game on. We've been overwhelmed by the response from the players, some of which have travelled from New Zealand, South Africa, obviously Australia. They've all given up the time free of charge, not one of them's earning a penny, and all the money tonight goes to charity. So when we talk about legacy, tonight we'll raise over £100,000 for 2 great rugby charities. We've had some great players. We've had Marius Herta, we had Mark Andrews here, Warren Britt. Marius in particular is a real fan favourite.
So certainly a club with a lot of heritage, and it certainly was a destination that when we actually rolled into the city of Newcastle upon Tyne, it was one that we had to go to. To continue,
we do apologise about the technical gremlin coming all the way from Newcastle. Vaylen Kirtley doing a sterling job for us ahead of that all-important clash, but also giving us just a roundup, a wrap of events leading up, of course, to the big clash tonight. New Zealand up against Georgia last night. What an impressive score, but I hear the fans are not the happiest, and of course New Zealand is now qualified for the quarter-finals. Let's go back to Vaylen Kirtley. In the middle of the conversation, we had a bit of an audio dip. Vaylen, how are you doing now?
I'm very excited, Muzi. I don't think I'm supposed to feel as tired as I'm now after the warm-up. I'm the referee today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And?
Yeah, I thought about playing for about 10 seconds.
Yes.
I wish I had played now, having looked at how unfit these guys are out here. I think I'm going to be the fittest guy on the park tonight.
So are you going to be able just to keep up with the boys?
I'm going to stand in the middle of the park, so I'm not going to run around and just blow the whistle. That's my job tonight.
Rob, your name was in the starting 15 and I see you're not even dressed to play.
I've just dropped myself. My form's been pretty poor recently, so I've had to go. I was going to be on the bench, but we've got enough, so I've decided to drop myself for this evening. And I saw the size of the opposition as well when I came in, so I think I'll watch it from here. Getting some guys back together, guys like Marius Herter and Matt Burke, who both involved in the '95 World Cup, both played for Newcastle. South African, Australian, back here to see Doddy Weir and Gary Armstrong, who they played with. So there's a little bit of that, and getting something on around the World Cup, because there's such a buzz around the World Cup in England. Massive buzz around Newcastle for obviously the 3 games at St James's Park, and the first one tomorrow, which is South Africa, Scotland.
Peter, I mean, you've kicked the rugby ball today. Is it the first time you've kicked it? Because I know that you're a legend when it comes to football.
Yeah, it looked like it was the first time. I have a brilliant experience today. Obviously, I was in the Southern Hemisphere dressing room, and it was amazing. Honestly, I've never been in a dressing room like it. Genuinely, it was just an absolute pleasure to be a part of.
Good fun, boys.
Yeah, great fun. I mean, it's in true rugby spirit. It was a draw in the end. Closely contested game, a couple of big hits, some exciting rugby, some tired bodies, but it was good fun all in all. And I don't know why Marius chose to be on the other side, because did you see the size of our Samoan boys in the team? There were some big hits, and tell you what, Herter, man,
Herter, please explain.
Well, it shows you at the end how important the kicker is. I mean, they couldn't even put it over. Some big runners. My eyes were quite big when I got on, and these boys started running direct lines. I thought this game is about space. I didn't see that.
Steve, it was a big success.
Yeah, I think it was, but I'll be honest, I much rather prefer being in the studio than on the playing field.
So the ABSA Red Bus, ABSA, a member of Barclays, is of course in Newcastle because we've got a big clash coming up at St James's Park. Matt Messina and I visited the place yesterday. This is St James's Park, home to Newcastle United, and it is going to be home to one of the best Rugby World Cup pool matches that we are yet to see. The Springboks up against Scotland. 52,000 people are going to pack into St James's Park, and it is going to be one of the biggest crowds that we have seen at this Rugby World Cup. A little bit of stats about St James's Park. People have been playing football at the site since 1880, and all where we are sitting are cabinets which celebrate the achievements of Newcastle United. But forget about Sir Bobby Robson, forget about Alan Shearer. There is another Newcastle United legend that my very own colleague Mac Messina has a special claim to.
Yeah, well, his name is Malcolm McDonald. That's the guy that played there between 1971 and 1976, and he played here for Newcastle, and he played for Newcastle for 187 matches, and then he did manage to score 95 goals. And then guess what, Vaylen? My actually dad named me after him, so they used to call him Superman.
I hope that South African connection is going to mean good news for the Springboks, because we hear they are bringing 100,000 Scottish supporters, because actually we are right close to the Scottish border here.
Yeah, it's a must-win game for the Boks, definitely, but it looks like as if it's going to be one of those games that have been building for such a long time.
I cannot wait.
We are going to win.
Are going to win. Well, we all hope that the Springboks are going to win. They still have to go out onto the field and do the duty. You'll be able to watch what happens on SABC2 from 5 o'clock this afternoon. Until then, we say goodbye for this morning. Until tomorrow.